If you use the seance technique to summon Gojo, could it feasibly last indefinitely the same way we saw with Toji? Let's talk about it. Alright, so first and foremost, this is actually a follow-up to a video I made last week where we talked about the seance technique with Gojo. So if you didn't see that, it might be a good place to start. And if you're watching on YouTube, it'll be linked down to this video here. But first and foremost, Glitch Trap reached out and said, if this was used on Gojo, would it actually transfer the Six Eyes and the Limitless to the person it was used on? And very quickly, the seance technique is the one that Okami used to basically summon the body's information in order to look like people. She used this on her grandson so that he could use Toji's heavenly restricted body. So, in my opinion, it would absolutely grant you Gojo's Six Eyes because we know that those are a physical trait. Like, they're not a curse technique, they are a part of his physiology. So, just in the same way that the grandson got to use Toji's heavenly restricted body, I do believe that whoever was summoning Gojo would have access to the Six Eyes. Now, the Limitless is a bit more complicated because we never saw an example of a seance user using another curse technique. Like in the grandson's case, Toji doesn't have one, right? And in this case, or the cases we saw her use it, we just saw her using it as like a disguise. But presumably, I would assume you would gain the curse technique, especially if you summoned both the body and the soul's information with the seance technique. And maybe the reason we didn't see it is because, you know, you wouldn't have any experience using that person's curse technique, so maybe it's not the most beneficial. Which again could point to why for the grandson they summoned Toji's body, just to get his raw physicality. So in my opinion, yes, Gojo would have the Six Eyes and the Limitless. It would essentially be him, right? So then the question is just how long does this last? Because we know that the technique operates based on the vessel's cursed energy. So whoever had volunteered to have the Gojo Seance performed on them would be able to make it last just as long as their cursed energy supply. And the reason this was such an anomaly with Toji is because he doesn't have any cursed energy, which is why when his body took over, it basically found a loophole through that process. The vessel's cursed energy could never run out because there was none, which is why that this only ended because Toji took his own life. Now let's bring this all the way back around, because in the case where you're using Seance with Gojo, he's not heavenly restricted, right? So there is going to be a pool of cursed energy there that could run out and thus end the technique, except they'll have the Six Eyes now, which are insanely efficient with cursed energy. So might they presumably be able to extend the technique indefinitely by making sure they're being efficient with their cursed energy? And it does seem plausible, I guess, if they don't have to go all out spending the cursed energy. So, you know, unless he's fighting Sukuna or something, maybe this could last forever.